night. If you don't know me very well, I am Teacher Prix, and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. I'm live on Instagram and on YouTube. Today is Masterclass Day, and we're going to talk about how to keep talking. How do you keep on talking? Keep on talking. Keep on talking when you don't know the words. Or maybe you forgot the word. Has this ever happened to you? There you are talking to an American or to a foreigner, and then your mind goes blank. You don't know what to say. The words disappear, and all you want to do is run away because you don't remember the words or you don't know how to express yourself. Has that ever happened to you? Pause due to poor connection on Instagram. I'll never believe that. All right. So tell me where you're from here in the comments, okay? I would love to know that. People on YouTube, always a pleasure to have you guys here. I divided this masterclass into a few parts. I know you guys are gonna like it. Now, before I show you how I organized today's session, I want to say something that I always highlight to my students, which is fluency is communication, not perfection. Sometimes we are in the middle of a conversation and we get so frustrated because we forgot a word, because we don't know how to say something, and we get so tense and anxious that as a result, we get stuck. Just as my connection is getting stuck right now. I don't know why. I have really high speed connection. But anyway, guys. So this is something that I work on with the students in my academy. I am live on YouTube as well, so you can come to YouTube. That could be an Instagram issue, okay? My students, they have different activities to help them build vocabulary, comprehension, communication in general. Because to make you feel more confident when it's time to speak, to remember the words, or know how to express yourself, you need better tools. This is something I talk to my students because I prepare my students to talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I see we have students joining from Mexico, from Poland. I saw one comment. That is nice. Do you suggest singing? No, I don't suggest singing. If you are in the middle of a conversation, I do not suggest that at all, okay? Now let's see something here. I may lose connection a little, but let's see if this is going to help. Maybe not. I tried something else. Okay. Let me end this. Done. Let me do this again. Maybe this will help. I don't know. Very well, guys. Sorry, you couldn't see me. I was trying to fix the situation on Instagram, but apparently I couldn't. But let's get down to it. Today's mission is very simple, okay? Today, we are going to talk about understanding the mechanics of the brain and word memorization. I'm going live again, guys. Today's a master class to talk about how to continue the conversation when you don't know how to say the words in English, when you're kind of stuck, okay? That's the go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the brain. Understanding the mechanics of the brain and word memorization. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to understand the single strategy that will boost your ability to keep talking. And we are going to practice this together. So stay with me until the end. There's going to be a practice moment, okay? A moment to practice this so that we can exercise together. And finally, we're going to have a live practice if we have time, and I will give you a speaking assessment, a kind of exercise, okay? It's so strange. It didn't, no, done. Let's see. My Instagram is not letting me go live. I don't know why. It's so strange. I usually go live very easily on Instagram, you know? And I really wanted to do this live with them, but I don't know. So weird. But all right, let's see if it goes. Now, diving into the content, I think I'm just going to stay on YouTube. Like, honestly, I don't have time for this. Let's see. what your brain is designed for. Some people get very worried about remembering the words, okay? Tell me here if this is something that constantly happens to you. Do you forget the words a lot? Do you get worried about forgetting the words? Do you find yourself in the middle of a conversation gazing off or panicking because you don't remember a word? So it's important to understand that no matter what your level is, no matter how advanced you are, how sophisticated your English is, how many certifications you have, if you've been living abroad or not, if you have a private teacher or not, if you are a student in my academy or not, you will inevitably forget words. Forgetting words is how the brain works. Forgetting information is how the brain works. And I will even leave a recommendation, which is from the National Library of Medicine. You can read the article, The Biology of Forgetting, a Perspective. So you can Google this, okay? And then you will find the link to the website, the National Library of Medicine, and then you can read the article, The Biology of Forgetting. So it's biological. Forgetting is biological, okay? It gets worse when you get nervous. Tell me, do you get nervous when you need to speak? People here on Instagram. Do you get nervous, people on YouTube, when you have to speak English? Tell me here in the comments, if you get nervous when the words don't come to you, or when you have a job interview, or you need to talk to your manager, to your colleagues. Feeling nervous is also part of the body, okay? It's part of biology as well. Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot of biology today. Don't worry. Now, this is part of the brain's rhythm. So our brain has a rhythm, has a pace, okay? And forgetting is part of that natural rhythm. So forgetting is inevitable, okay? What will stay? What is love? So the brain filters. The brain filters information. So throughout the day, we receive a lot of information. Tell me, how many hours do you spend on your cell phone? If you use an iPhone, you can see your screen time. How many hours a day do you spend on your cell phone? Social media, working, talking to people. How much time do you spend on your cell phone per day? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4, 10 days. No, 10 days is impossible. 24 hours. I think that's the maximum, right? More than 5 hours. Okay. Yeah. I went through a detox. I reduced the number of hours I was using my phone. Nowadays, it's about 2 hours to 3 hours. But I use it for work. So like posting, creating content. So a lot of those hours are related to work. A lot. Oh no, my goodness. So why am I asking this question? Because when you are, looking at the screen, you are receiving a lot of information. So every day we receive a lot of information. So what happens to the brain's rhythm? It filters. It filters information to save and information that it should discard by information. And how does it analyze what stays and what goes? Based on relevance. How relevant it is. How important that piece of information is. That's why so many of you study, but you don't remember. Because you're not connecting the vocabulary with something relevant. As a result, your brain will discard that piece of information and will be like, that's not important. She didn't associate this word with anything that matters, so I'm just going to throw this in the garbage, So this is a very important thing, okay? Now, how do I improve memory? And I will talk about 2 situations here, okay, to help you understand. And remembering is one situation, knowing is another. I will explain both. To improve your memorization, you have to switch from passive consumption to active consumption, consolidation, memory consolidation. So your memory is not as strong. You feel like you forget a lot of words because you are perhaps, I don't know you, I don't know exactly everything you do, but you're focusing way too much on consumption, receiving. You receive a lot of vocabulary every day. You watch videos. I post videos every day here on Instagram, teaching words, expressions, but your engagement, your active engagement and connection are weak. As a result, when you have to speak, you don't remember anything. Your mind goes blank. With that in mind, there's another important thing that I will cover slightly in this lesson, which is internal dialogue and representational systems. Still thinking about the situation when you forget. Let's say you are in the middle of a conversation. Let's say you are on the street and you're talking to someone in English and you forgot a word or an expression or how to make a sentence because you got anxious. You got nervous and you forgot. It happens. We also need to analyze your internal dialogue and representational systems, what you feel, what you see, and what you say to yourself during the conversation. While I am talking to you, I'm thinking, is everybody okay here? Is the connection finally okay? Did I cover that thing I wanted to say? I'm thinking about many different things, many different subjects. When you're talking to a native speaker or non-native speaker at work, when traveling, you're also paying attention to many things in your brain. You're also having a lot of dialogues. You need to pay attention to what you're talking to yourself about. Are you in your head saying, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. He speaks too fast. I can't do this. I can't have this conversation. I don't know how to keep talking. I don't know how to do this. What is going to happen? Oh no. Your internal dialogue is all over the place. So you're not just focusing on the conversation anymore. Your internal dialogue and your representational systems are focusing on panicking, on how hard it is, on how tough the conversation is, on how difficult it'll be to express yourself. And because of that, you can't focus on the dialogue. I read a message here that threw me off game. I love when Brazilians come and say, oh, you speak like a Brazilian. I am Brazilian. But it's interesting that whenever people come and make that kind of comment, it's very judgmental. Oh, you're Brazilian, huh? Yeah, you're not a real teacher. So I always delete these people. I don't let them stay. Sorry. Because my focus is on communication. It really annoys me to state the obvious. Not American. But for a moment, it got my attention. I changed my focus just to show you that I'm human. And our brain is always going around and around and around and focusing on many different subjects. If I don't focus, if I stay there, yeah, he's right. Oh my God, I sound so Brazilian-ish. Oh no, I need to study 10 more hours. I will work on my pronunciation. I get lost. And what happens to many of you? You're there talking and then you make a mistake. You make a pronunciation mistake. The guy or the girl doesn't understand. Then they look at you. I beg your pardon? What did you say? You immediately conclude, oh, I suck. Jesus Christ, you didn't understand what I said? I'm pathetic. I'm making a fool of myself. Representational systems. Do you know what the representational systems are? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So what you see in your mind. Some people see more images. Some people don't. Okay? Some people hear more. Literally and hear figuratively in their heads. They are listening to a voice in their heads. Not everybody does. I have a friend who is really visual. Really visual. She sees a lot of images in her head, But when I talk to her about sounds, radio silent. She doesn't hear anything. Me, I hear things all the time. I don't see a lot of images. It's hard for me to see images in my brain, to create images. When someone tells me to create an image, I create the sound. I hear myself saying the word. I don't see the object because I'm really auditory. Kinesthetic people, they feel. They're really in touch with their body. So it's really connected to their emotions, to their feelings. So when I give them a word, they will probably associate with an emotion, with a feeling they had. Very, very interesting. And when you are in the middle of a conversation and you panic, that's kinesthetic. But to get to that emotional state, to get to the panic, to get to the anxiety, which is the kinesthetic, you needed a visual and auditory stimulation. So you probably saw something. You probably heard something. And if you are really kinesthetic, you didn't have any visual stimulation or auditory. You just felt something in your body that made you highly uncomfortable. And together, they block your English fluency. You will not talk. It'll be very difficult for you to deliver good communication, good language. And many people get stuck in this loop. They're talking to someone, the conversation gets difficult, their representational systems start working, they are always working, but they work against you. They are working to make you more stuck in your own head. So remembering is connected to this. If you have an intense emotional trigger, remembering the word will be very difficult, even to me. Do you think that here, I'm live right now, do you think I remember every word I know? I have an excellent repertoire of vocabulary. But here, managing the messages, checking out if everything is okay, making sure that I stay on point, that I stay focused, I will not remember everything. I will not deliver my 100%. But when I am relaxed, talking to my students, talking to native speakers when traveling, I'm fine. Then I feel good. And that's what you need to learn to understand. That's why I teach my students in my academy neurolinguistic programming. Because that's what neurolinguistic programming is, understanding how to manage your emotional states. With that in mind, we need to make two distinctions here. Because one thing is remembering and the other is knowing. And the subject of the masterclass was when you don't know. Because here we have different situations, guys. There is the moment when you don't remember a word. You know. You have that feeling like, I know this word, Teacher Prix, but I don't remember. That's one situation. And that's usually triggered by emotional state. You're in your head too much. You're trying to deliver something, and when you don't, you get frustrated and you get stuck. And we also have knowing. When you don't know, it's very simple. It's not because you're a bad student, you're a bad speaker. You just don't know what to say. Perhaps it's a very complicated concept that you know how to say in your language, but you don't know how to say in English. Very natural. It happens to all of us. So to improve your knowing, okay? To improve your knowing. Now, this is where we get to the focal point of the lesson, because there are strategies you can implement to improve your ability to talk, okay? Pay attention. What's the subject of the lesson? Vocabulary. Like, come to YouTube and then you will find. Knowing can be improved. Not knowing all the words is something that you have to live with. But what can we do? We need to improve the right part of the brain. The brain is divided into two sides. We have the left side and the right side. I will not get into the details of right and left side, but they all serve different functions, okay? I don't know if if I created a slide for the right and left side of the brain. Yes, I do. Let me show the slides of the brain, okay? If you look at the right side of the brain, this is here on YouTube. If you look at the right side of the brain, That's the good stuff, in my opinion, okay? But who am I? I'm just a teacher, but I really like the right side of the brain. I am a really kind of right side of the person, okay? But the right side of the brain is creativity, imagination, intuition, subjectivity. Subjectivity, you know, everything is subjective. Emotion, face recognition. It's not about reasoning. And sometimes in a conversation, you will need to focus on that, on using your creativity, your imagination, your intuition. Because when you don't know the reason, you don't know reason. That's the left side of the brain. What is the left side of the brain? Reasoning, logic, analytical, spoken language, written language. It is objective. It's numbers. It's scientific skills. And when your reason doesn't know, your reason doesn't know. So when you don't know a word in English, insisting will only make you more stuck. Putting pressure will only make you more stuck. So we need to learn how to work with the two sides of the brain. And quite honestly, well, one second, guys. Okay. To improve your knowing, there are strategies that I'm going to teach that will help you work with your creativity, that will help you work with metaphors. You want to be fluent and advanced? Congratulations, you need to use your metaphors. You need to use more imagination because that's what advanced people do. Remembering, you need to improve your consolidation habits. Contextualized learning, active recall, chunking. In a nutshell, the way you study. I always come here and I always say that. I think I will die saying that. You improve your English by improving your habits, your actions. And remembering, memorization is improved by improving consolidation, the way you absorb information. There are not many ways to do it. There are fancy names, okay, for that. Spaced repetition. But at the end of the day, it's how you study, how often you study, and how you connect what you study with your life. These are the main points I teach in my methodology inside my academy and here on my, in my channel with my free lessons, okay? Knowing is what I want to focus on today. How to improve your ability to use your knowledge when you are in real life. Because then you don't have time to look up a word in a dictionary. You're not a walking dictionary, right? You don't know all the words. But you can develop a skill that will allow you to talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's the idea. There are 3 pictures here on the screen right now. You can't see people on YouTube, on Instagram, okay? Sorry about that. There are 3 pictures that you can see here on the screen. 2 of them are logical. One of them is not so logical. It can be considered abstract. And what I want to try to teach you in today's masterclass is that to continue a conversation, you can't just rely on logical, on reason. You need to use your imagination a little and not consider that something bad. Maybe you're getting stuck all the time because you're forced to use your imagination to explain something, and after you get the job done, you feel guilty. You feel negative, like, oh man, I can't believe I made this mistake. I didn't know how to say match, and I had to explain. I used this ridiculous explanation. It's not ridiculous, it's fluency. Because fluent people create. Fluency is communication. So people on Instagram, you don't see it. But how would I explain the object? If you don't know this, it'll be difficult for you to explain. The object match. People on YouTube, how do you explain that? You can't use match, okay? But how do you explain that? That's creativity. It's, of course, that it's a combination of logics, okay, reasoning, because you do need your language, and that's left, okay, spoken language, written language, you need that. But you can also use your imagination, your intuition, your creativity, metaphors, and that is all the right side. So you need to combine both. And this is something I teach my students in my academy. The art of explaining what you don't know, that's called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is a skill that I have been working on and I have been teaching students over and over and over, because this is what allows you to talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in terms of vocabulary. Because what makes me talk to a doctor and talk to a truck driver about their feuds, about their work? I may not know all the vocabulary related to truck driving and their everyday life. I may not know the everyday life of a doctor. But what helps me communicate with them? My ability to use my imagination, creativity, abstract language, metaphors in connection with the grammar I know. Together, I paraphrase what I need whenever I need. How do I explain the sun? Here comes the sun. Na, 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 na. Oh, Priscilla, but sun is such an obvious word. Yes, it is. But how do you explain that in English? How do you explain the sun? What is the sun? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. That's paraphrasing. How do I explain the boy there? There's a little picture of a boy. And I want to explain his emotion. That's abstract. I want to explain his emotion. How would I do that in English? That's paraphrasing. I'm not asking for a particular word. I am asking for you to use your imagination, your creativity to explain a concept you may not know. And that's what fluent people do all the time without even realizing. We have paraphrasing for logical and abstract. What is logical in this aspect? Objects. This is a pen. It's easy to describe. Okay? Very easy to describe a pen. So that's logical. And we can also describe disappointed. That's not so objective anymore. That's more abstract. Because disappointed, even though we have a translation, a definition, an official definition, when I am paraphrasing disappointed, I may need to use more examples, stories, metaphors to help you understand disappointed. That's paraphrasing too. When I go to the doctor, I take my mom or my father or someone to the doctor. And the doctor explains something complicated to my mom and she doesn't understand. I go and I explain to her in a simple way, with more simple language. I pick something that is complicated, that has a mix of logical and abstract, and I explain to her in simple terms. That's paraphrasing. So when I explain to you the vocabulary, I think I posted a video yesterday. No, yesterday was grammar. The day before, I posted 3 expressions. I don't remember with what. I can't recall right now. What am I doing there? I am paraphrasing. Is paraphrasing important for native speakers? Absolutely. Native speakers use more paraphrasing than you realize. It is natural for them. It is regular. It's everyday communication for them, especially when they're talking to non-native speakers at work or, anywhere pretty much. So it's something they naturally use, okay? Professors at university, when they are explaining complicated concepts, they will probably use a lot of paraphrasing because they need to make something easier for you to understand. That's why they may resort to paraphrasing, okay? Moving on. So using your imagination to explain something in English that you don't know, This would be a nice way to put it. There is an object here on the screen. People on Instagram cannot see it. Okay, sorry guys, you can't see the object. Okay, but people on YouTube can see it. There is an object that we use in the kitchen when we are serving soup. And how do we explain? What I'm doing right now is paraphrasing. Oh, it's an object that we use in the kitchen when we're going to serve soup. And it's a kind of spoon. You know, it's a really long spoon to serve soup. What is the name of the word, of the spoon? Is it spoon? No, it's not spoon. What am I doing here? I am paraphrasing. I am explaining a word. I will not show you the word, by the way, but if you put this explanation that I just gave you on Google, you will find the word. A long, deep spoon to serve soup. And then you will see what it is. Do this. I challenge you, okay? A long, deep spoon to serve soup. And you will know the word in English for that, okay? A big spoon to serve soup. You can say that. That's good. You know, oh, where's that spoon? You know, that big spoon to serve soup. Wonderful. Priscilla, but what if I say a big spoon to eat soup? Doesn't work because we don't use this spoon to eat. We use to serve. Okay? But if you use to eat, then you can correct yourself. No, it's not to eat. It's very big. It's to if you don't remember serve, it's to get soup from the bowl to me, to my plate. There you go. So the idea is I always simplify. Paraphrasing is about simplifying communication so that you stay in English. Ah, you Google, right? Did you do this in English? Tell me, Elipi, I'm not sure how to say your name. Did you guys do it in English? I hope so, okay? I hope you put it on Google in English. Okay? The people on Instagram, they Google it. And they found the word in English. That's awesome. I'm proud of you guys. And it's interesting because when I was preparing this lesson, I had forgotten how to say this, okay? Because I wanted this object. I don't know why, okay? But I forgot how to say it in English. So these were the exact terms I put on Google. I didn't use translation. I used paraphrasing. And I paraphrased the word I wanted. People get so stuck with translation that they don't realize that they can use English all the time. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's what I teach. Okay? So you should Google, okay, a large, deep spoon to serve soup. And you will know how to say that in English. And the more you do that, the better you get at using your creativity. I do this a lot, guys. You have no idea. No idea. The students in my academy do this all the time too. They have a lesson just for that. Sometimes during the live sessions we have once a month, I bring this exercise for them. The only difference is they have to do this orally, okay? But I will talk about that very soon. Before I continue, make sure to share this video with a friend, okay? I would really appreciate if you could share this with a friend. But let's practice a little more. Here we have 3 more objects, okay? And you may know them in English, you may not know them in English, but how do you explain them? And here, what am I doing? I am using your right side of the brain. I am giving you visual stimulation and working on the right side. And the left. I'm always working on both, okay, guys? Because I'm not a neuroscientist. Let's make that very clear. I do understand the brain for language learning. I study a lot of neuroscience. But when I say I'm focusing on the right side, you are also using your left side. We are always using both sides of the brain. I'm just highlighting the right side. when I give you images, when I play with your imagination, when I try to make you use your language for creativity, that's right side activity for the brain. And the brain really needs that to improve communication, reacting quickly. Okay, just as I react quickly here to fix my hair, yeah? So the first image, how do you explain that in English? Huh? I will put this for you guys, okay? But I wanted to explain. This is the first object. How do you explain this this thing in English? It's not an object, it's food, of course, but how do you explain the first one in English? Use your imagination. How would you explain it? I want to explain it for you. Huh? And when I am doing this practice by myself, I use a lot of Google Images to see if my explanations are close, okay? If Google starts to give me the images I'm looking for, then it means my paraphrasing is going well, okay? And I have been practicing this for 20 years, more or less. I'm a big fan of paraphrasing. That's why I think so fast. And I think in English so fast. Because instead of searching for translation of words, I always gave explanations. When I got the computer, because I didn't have a computer many years ago, so I used English to English dictionaries. And then when I got the computer, then I would do this on Google. I would just give these explanations instead of immediately resorting to translation. So how would I explain grated cheese? Like really small pieces of Parmesan cheese that we usually sprinkle on spaghetti. Do you like grated cheese? This would be a way to explain. There's no limit to what you can do with paraphrasing, as long as I understand. That's the goal. The goal is to make people understand, not to sound amazing. I'm not saying you're going to use bad grammar, incorrect language. No, that's not what I mean, okay? You have to use correct language as much as possible. It's a meal from cows that you can use with pasta. Okay, but it's not very, it's very open. I would say it's a meal from cow. Okay, because cheese is not a meal, it's food, okay? It's not a complete meal. It's a kind of food that comes from cows, that comes from dairy. And you can use it with pasta. That's a little better. You can use it with pasta, but the first part, it's a meal. It's not a meal, okay? It's a kind of food. With the students in my academy, I add grammar lessons to help them improve this explanation. So you see, we can use grammar to improve your ability to explain things in English. We typically use defining relative clauses to work on that. I think I have a lesson here on my channel, but it's there are many things we can use to help you improve your paraphrasing. Then we have here, then we have the other one. There's a woman, and what I want to describe is that she's scared. How would I paraphrase scared? How would I explain scared to someone? You know? Nice, Ariana, but I don't want to say grated cheese. The idea is you need to paraphrase grated cheese. You need to explain grated cheese. Let's say you don't know how to say that in English, okay? Here I'm using images that most people know. But with paraphrasing in real life, I'm probably using with things I don't know. Let's say I'm in the middle of a conversation and I don't remember how to say this. And I need this kind of pen. And it's a specific pen. It's not just any pen. It's one that, you know, you can highlight texts and words. But I don't remember how to say. That's what paraphrasing is for when you don't know how to say things or when you want to simplify things. For two scenarios, to explain what I don't know and to simplify difficult phrases, difficult explanations, difficult concepts. Dental floss. How do I explain dental floss? You know? Dental floss. How do we explain that in English? without using dental floss. That's the entire challenge of this masterclass. When I learned to paraphrase, this is what I say here on my channel on YouTube. I'm Teacher Prix, and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. There's no limit to what you can do because you use what you know to describe what you don't know. But this takes practice because you need to improve your imagination and creativity. And some people will say, Priscilla, I am not creative. I don't have imagination. It's practice. It's exercise. What I am doing right now with you, it's an imagination. It's a creativity exercise connected to English and communication. That's what you need in real life. The concept of thinking outside the box. I will continue. I do have more, okay? Make sure to share this with a friend if possible. Check out the things I have available, such as my academy. Might want to join or purchase my study plan. Really cool video lessons organized in a way that you know how to study. Pretty cool. But let's keep rolling. How to include paraphrasing. Oh, yes, the guys here are paraphrasing. The line we use to clean our teeth. Okay. Something we use to clean our teeth, to get our teeth cleaned. Okay, that's cool. Very cool, very cool. It's a tiny rope that we use to clean our teeth. Okay, the rope is the only metaphor, but that's possible. How to include more paraphrasing in your routine. My main recommendation, pay attention because this is good for you guys, okay? It's a free resource. My main recommendation is to use the taboo game. Taboo game is really good because it makes you practice. Betty, I do. Send a message privately, okay? Because for beginners, only private sessions. But you have to send a private message, okay? Now, guys, taboo game. You can find taboo game online. I have the taboo game. I have the physical game, okay? I love it. Love it. But this will be a little difficult, okay? Because the taboo game, do you know the taboo game? The taboo game is made for native speakers. It's not made for students, okay? Let's make that very clear. The taboo game is made for Americans. It's a game. It's a board game. And in this board game, I really wanted to show you, but I don't know where I put it. Let's see. One second, guys. What a shame. I don't know where I put it. Sorry, guys. I don't know where it is. I think it's in a box somewhere. I still have many boxes that I haven't opened. But anyway, the taboo game is that like many cards, like 100 cards, and they have words. And you have a timer. You do have a timer. It is a game, and you have to describe the words in the card, but you cannot use the words in the card. That's what makes it difficult. So you have to paraphrase a lot, okay? Very cool. Now, this game you can buy, literally you can buy, okay? And you can find similar versions online. You can even find the taboo game online, okay? If you search taboo game online, you will find, okay? Now, some of those words are difficult. Not gonna lie. Let me drink some water because I want to cough. It's a really nice game. And let's see. With this game, I recommend you do it by writing and by speaking to practice your ability to paraphrase, okay? Because Americans will play this for fun. You're playing this to study English, right? Now, let's keep rolling. What I do with my students. For example, here right now, you're seeing a screenshot of a taboo game I prepared. Sometimes when I do live sessions with my students, not here, in my academy, acceleration program, academy, I create the taboo game, a better version for my students, and we do it together. And what do? I set a timer, 1 minute, and the student has to explain a word. And you can even use this image right now. You can take a screenshot and you have like 25 words here for you to practice. You have the top word, and then you have the other words inside the box. In 1 minute, you have to explain the top word, but you cannot use any word, okay? So for example, let's say you have to explain the word lawyer. There you have it. You explain the word lawyer. However, while you are explaining the word lawyer, you cannot use crime, defend, law, and justice. Okay? I don't know why it's putting everything together. So that's the idea of paraphrase. That's the idea of taboo, to make it difficult for you to explain something simple. What am I doing here? A combination of right side of the brain, creativity, imagination, metaphor, plus the logical part, language. How can I use the language resource I have to explain lawyer when I cannot use lawyer, I cannot use law, I cannot use justice, I cannot use defend? How do you explain lawyer with all this limitation? Huh? You can't use the word lawyer, you can't use the word law, you can't use the word defend and justice. But you must explain lawyer. That's the entire purpose of this exercise. And while you talk for a minute, what I do with my students in my academy, they are talking, trying to describe, and I am writing down the corrections because they are going to make mistakes. So I'm going to listen to them during these sessions. I'm going to listen, take notes of what they said, and at the end, if they guess the students participating, sometimes 5 students participate, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, they can post the answer because only the student speaking knows the word, and I, of course. It is a fun game that works on your English, that works on your writing, works on your English speaking, and your ability to keep talking. The idea of taboo is that you never stop talking, okay? They can protect people's right. Okay, but typically a person who fights for the rights. Okay, they can protect people's rights. Okay, that's possible. It's a person who protects people's rights. Okay. Let's see. It is a person. Now, I cannot use crime, but it doesn't say anything about criminal. Huh? It's a person who helps criminals get out of jail. Huh? It's a person who helps criminals get out of jail. Can I say jail? Let me see. Yes, I can say jail. It's a person that helps bad people stay in jail. Yeah, okay, that depends. A professional who reads a lot of books and articles and then goes to talk to a judge. Okay, but I do need to add a little more, okay? But because he reads a lot of books and articles to talk to the judge for what? To protect someone, to help someone, okay? To serve someone. That's the idea of paraphrasing. This is a really good game, guys. I absolutely enjoy this because it is one of the most efficient ones to make you keep talking, okay? Like, it's something you say that is not true to make another person believe it. What word are you describing? You lost me there, Anna. Because I didn't... Yeah, I'm not sure you understand based on the words I gave, okay? It's a very good game, guys. Very, very good. Because this exercise, remember, the purpose here is to keep talking when you don't know, okay? This practice will help you get better at continuing the conversation when you don't know what to say. In combination with this practice, I'm not gonna lie to you, you need to improve your grammar. You need to study more grammar. because your ability to speak, to make sentences, will come from grammar work that must be connected to writing and speaking. It's an integration of activities. That's what I teach inside my academy. Because if you only do this, but you don't work on grammar, you don't work on writing, on English speaking, you will not see much result, much difference. Excuse me, you won't see many results. You won't see much difference. But this does help with your ability to think fast, okay? A lawyer, you can't use lawyer. Silva, you don't say lawyer, it's someone. It's someone, you can't use law. Because law is in lawyer, you can't. This is the thing of the game, okay? The idea of the game is to make you think of how to explain something without using certain words. This will help you. I'm telling you. You practice this consistently and you will get better, okay? I think I had another word here. Now, you can use these words to practice. I recommend doing this every day. If you study every day, do this every day, okay? If you don't study every day, do this as often as possible. You can pick words you know and words you don't know. Okay? Words you know and words you don't know. And explain them. Explain as much as possible. You can use the taboo game online to find more words. Okay? So you can describe, so you can practice this. Okay? You can pick these words here. They are from a lesson I gave my students, a session on paraphrasing, so that we could practice this together and have a good time, because the explanations are the best. They're always fun, okay? The idea is to improve your fluency, to keep talking, you need better strategies. And I know how to do that well, okay? And if you're interested, you should join my academy. I know my academy is a good program. It's gonna help you with grammar, speaking, vocabulary, confidence, feeling more confident about yourself. So make sure to check it out. My study plan is also something that can help you with direction, knowing how to use the internet in your favor. People on Instagram who want to know more about my academy, send me a message, like, Priscilla, I want to know about your academy. The link is in my bio as well. You can find there. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's masterclass. Share it with a friend. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.